Maybe you have recently retired and are feeling bored and are looking for a pastime that can lift you out of the doldrums. Or maybe you've been painting for a while and you're looking for a beautiful, easy project for today. Either way, you're in the right place, because today I'm going to paint with you a beautiful, relaxing watercolour of beach pebbles. And the best thing is, it's easier than you think. So let's get started. So right, let's jump into this straight away. I'm going to be painting some rocks today, using some of the techniques that we talked about in the last video. And for my paper, we are going to use, as usual, Mead & Cold Press 100% cotton. This is 12 by 9, this sheet of paper here. And it's, as I said, 100% cotton, so it's really good to paint on, and it's not that expensive. So somebody asked a question the other day. She wanted to upgrade. The first thing she wanted to upgrade from her Hobby Lobby dollar store type supplies, and she said she'd already got Winsor & Newton paints. What should she buy? And I said, well, upgrade from Hobby Lobby paper to Mead & 100% cotton, and you'll notice a difference straight away. For paints, I'm going to use my custom set here, which I've put in the description below all the paints that are in my custom set that I've put together for myself. This contains paints by Michael Harding, Daniel Smith, Quor, Holbein, Old Holland, Schminker, and others. And there are however many you can see there. And the ones in the middle here are the Michael Harding ones, and these are the others, which are a mixture from various different places. And if I use them, I'll talk about them. But this gives me everything I could possibly need for my painting when I'm painting from a tin. So this travels with me when I go places. You don't need to do that. You can paint with anything you like. I could just as easily do this painting with a Kuretake set, but today I feel like using those. But I'm not going to use mostly those. I'm going to use mostly this, because since these are going to be rocks, I thought, how could I do better than to use the Daniel Smith Primatech colours, which are these ones here. I've only got 6 of them. Hematite, rhodonite, piemontite, amethyst, Mayan blue, and jadeite. I'm going to be doing an exploration of the Daniel Smith colour chart. I've bought one of their dot charts with, I think, 66 different colours on it. And over the next few weeks, when that arrives, we will be exploring those. Because I've found that these are really interesting. I've also got here the Daniel Smith Jean Haynes All That Shimmers set, because they're nice too. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. And I'm going to take a pencil, and first thing I'm going to do is draw some irregular shapes that look a bit like rocks. I know I'm surrounded by stones here because we live in a mountainous area, but in this basket I have a few things. This is quartz, and this is quartz crystal. That's not really what I want to paint. I'm not going to try and paint something transparent, but this one here will give me some ideas for patterns of lines, even if I don't do an irregular one like this, but I could. And then I've also got this is some pink quartz as well. I haven't been into this basket for a little while, so we have some various and assorted different quartz crystals. They help to keep the studio in a good shape. So here we have the ones I was really wanting. That one, this one. These are tumbled, I believe. So they are nice shiny ones, but they have patterns on them like this, which is quite good. So that'll just be for inspiration, because I'm not really going to try and copy any of this, but it's kind of inspiring. So we'll put those. Oh, that's a bee. Oh dear, hopefully he is an ex-bee. Yes, I remember we put him to one side last summer, I think it was. He died. So, yeah. Dear. Okay, so there are my inspiration at the side there. And I'll bring my paper back. You could do this on a bigger piece of paper if you wanted to. But I think I'll start with this. And as I said, first thing to do is to do some quick outlines. You could start with a nice big one near the center, perhaps. I'm sort of basing it on that. And then I'm absolutely hopeless at doing things from imagination, but I'm sure you're not. So I'm just going to basically copy the stones that I've got here more or less at random. So I'm just using these to start me off, sort of thing. Put another biggish one here. It's surprising how easy it is to go to repeat yourself. Yes, that is one of the problems of being a YouTuber. You tend to repeat yourself. Okay, so up to there, and over here, let's have a couple of smaller ones like that maybe. And then perhaps, of course, if you haven't got stones handy, you can just go to Pixabay or something like that and find a photograph there of rocks. There we are. I think that'll probably do. And then the fun begins. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'll start with the middle one, I think. I've got my Princeton Aqua Elite brush here. It's the one that is the happiest in my hand. Not sure quite why. So thing to do would be to choose the colour that you like the best for the centre one, probably. So it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to do them in kind of natural beiges and things like that, that's all very, very good. I think what I'm going to do, I'll just wake up these paints actually because I hadn't sprayed them. So they'll probably be a bit sleepy. And you can either paint wet on dry, or else you can make your paper wet. Now, some people have pointed out that they didn't realise that if you wet an area on your watercolour paper, that area that you've wetted will contain the paint. So if I now put paint on there, it'll spread to the edges eventually, but it won't go beyond where the paper is damp. It won't go, unless the whole paper is damp, it will stay there. So there are multiple things that you can do to decorate your stones. And I haven't thought this through. I'm hopeless at thinking things through, so I'm just going to go by intuition and do whatever comes to mind. So I'm going to drop into the corners this one is, I don't know how to pronounce this. It looks to me like Piemontite, but it could be Piemontite. I don't know how they want it to be said, but it's not a word I know. So what we can do is that, and you can then immediately see that I've missed a few bits, so you can fill those in if you want with paint, and then move it around a bit so it kind of floats around a bit if you want. And then you could do multiple things. You can just leave that to dry as it is, or you can spread it out a bit, but I would advise against that because it's nice when you don't. Or you could go for another colour. So we could do that. I think I might pick up some hematite, because I know that's highly granulating, and so is this Piemontite as well. So I might just do this because this is fun. And just drop this in various places. And the thing is, when this dries, you have no idea what's going to come. You don't really know at all. So just, it's quite possible that less is more when it comes to something like this. And then once this is dry, we can come in with some lines and we can do other things as well. Okay, so don't like that blob there. Get rid of that. But now we'll leave that in peace to do its own thing. So let's pick up one of the Jean Haynes ones. This is Ruby, and I'm going to paint this one in as it comes because this is a smaller pebble. We'll just paint that in there. So now that's wet, and we can pick up, let's try some hematite on that, and we'll just drop that in down one end. I can see that I've just caught that with my clumsy brush. I'm just going to take that little bit off there, just because, you know, we've all got a slightly perfectionist streak in us, haven't we? Okay, so that one just needs tidying up here. Well, it doesn't really need anything. Okay, so I think I'm tending to think I'm going to keep this on the fairly sort of neutral greys and beiges kind of side, which is not going to show up super good on the camera when we come to making our thumbnail and everything. So, but anyway, so I'm going to put some green in there because that one looks a little bit on the greenish side. So we just put a nice area of green in there, and then I'm going to drop water into that. Technique number 1, and we'll see what happens there. And let that do itself, do whatever it wants to do. Now this is rhodonite, which I think is going to be pink. So let's put that up here. It's a lovely pink, isn't it? A bit like this one. That's a bit more orangey, but so now we've painted that one in with pink, and we can drop in something contrasting. I know, I tell you what, let's go for some gold. You remember we did with the bird, we dropped gold, I think it was, into the paint. This is watercolour paint, of course, and I haven't started it up, so the engine isn't running. So give me a minute to get him going, and then we could pump that in if we can get it going well enough. I don't think that one is as good as this one or this one, which is probably why I'm almost running out of this one, and I keep trying to use the one I've got more of, but it doesn't work as well. So we'll go back to this one. I've got to get some more of these. I wanted to get the big set of Kuretake colours with all of the gem colours and the starry colours in it, but it's not available to me at the moment, so I'm going to have to wait. So I'm going to put rows of gold in here, pumping it in the way we did before. And I don't know quite how it's going to work out, so we'll have to see. But we will put more additional colour in there as we continue. So that's that. Okay, put a little bit more water on there. We'll see what happens there. I think that might be a bit too bright, that pink. So maybe we'll just stroke that out a little bit. What's too bright? I don't know. Just kind of feel a little bit. This is going to be a nice area here to decorate with pen or pencil or something like that. Okie dokie. So now we need to come a little bit lighter over here. Perhaps we'll use some buff titanium. Now, buff titanium is a Daniel Smith colour, and it's a good colour for stone. It's a good colour for sand on the beach. I think it's a very good colour to have in your palette as a background colour there, like that. And then we could drop into that something like maybe some amethyst, which seems kind of appropriate. We've got a piece of amethyst here. You can see that is actually amethyst. So we just stroke that in. And then when that's dry, we can come in with some silver or gold or white pen and do some lines on that to make it similar to this pattern there. Yes, you can see it. Okay, so let's just have some areas that are darker and some areas that are lighter. This bit down here is quite dark. Okay, so that's really quite accurate, that colour, isn't it? There's another one here. This is another piece of amethyst, but it's rather different. It's much creamier. So I wonder whether that would work if I, because that's really very lovely, if I was to paint it first of all in the amethyst colour, but lighter, like that. And then I could drop in some white. This is Michael Harding Warm White. So I could just drop some of that in. And then we can add to that with some white lines. I'm just going to pick up a bit of amethyst as well and mix the two together a little bit, so it'll be a little bit different. It's all experimental, really. So I'll leave that like that, I think. Okay, and we don't want too many colours because it'll start to look really bitty if we have too many colours. I think probably another pink one down here. So this is Ruby from Jean Haynes. The colours come in little boxes, don't they? Little sets of 5 or 6, I think. And they have loads of different artists represented. And so this one, I'm going to come in with some dots of hematite. And see what happens. See what happens, make them darker up here. You can do these to be a little bit more realistic, like these ones probably could be said to be. I'm going to do this one in hematite alone. Or you could do them really doodly and just decorate them. You know, I'm going to put some darker hematite in places on that one and just keep that one grey. Okay, now I'm feeling a little bit as if I need a bit of blue, so let's pick up some of this electric blue. No, that might be a bit too much. Let's mix it with some hematite. That makes it kind of greyish. Yeah, that's quite nice. So that's electric blue mixed with hematite. That one is not unlike this, which is a silvery colour. That's rather nice. And that's going to all kind of granulate, because that's what hematite does when you mix it with water. So that's good. And still feeling that this one is a bit too bright. I tell you what I'm going to do with that one. I'm going to wet it, and then I'm going to lift out some of that pink. I could also paint over the top of it. I'm going to try this first, so just some kitchen towel. And that's picked up most of it. But I did feel that that was a little bit too much. So don't be afraid to make corrections. This ever-forgiving hematite is going to go in there. And if I don't like the pink line that has appeared around the outside edge, I can go over that with a white pen when it's dry. Okay, what next? Amethyst we've used, Mayan blue we've used, jadeite we've used, rhodonite we've used. Well, let's have a go with some copper. This is a Jean Haynes copper. I'll stick some hematite in there too. And Piemontite, Piemontite, whatever you want to call it. Go there. And I think I might drop a little bit of water into that one, and we get some dispersion going on there. I'm looking for grey, and I'm wondering whether, yeah, just plain old grey would be quite nice if we just stick that in. That one is, I think, lamp black, I think, with plenty of water. That should make a nice background. And I can't resist putting a little dab of granulation in there. That's nice. Beige, we want a beige one again, I think. I'm going to get some brown and some buff titanium. Now, because that's buff titanium, it's somewhat opaque, so it does have a bit of a tendency to look very solid, so you don't want to use too much of it. Okay, that's that one. And then we've got one more here. How about another little bit of nice pale pink, perhaps? Was that rhodonite? I can't remember whether it was rhodonite or ruby. Let's go with ruby. I think it was ruby. There we are. And again, a little bit of hematite down there to do its own thing. So there we are. Now what we need to do is let that dry. And I think it's probably a good idea not to use a hairdryer on it, because that will slow the movement. If you feel you want to make any alterations at this point, so sort of like mushing these out a little bit if they seem a little bit too strong, you can still do that. But I'm going to put that to one side, let that dry, and I'll come back and finish that after lunch. Okay, so that's nice and dry now. And I think the next thing to do is to do some decorative lines on it. You could leave it the way it is and put shadow underneath and make them into more realistic pebbles, because I think that these Primatech colours have come out really well with lots and lots of texture, and they really do look like rocks. But I think for the purposes of this exercise, I was thinking that we would use some fine liners and do some lines on them. So we'll do that. And yesterday I did go shopping and I bought myself 2 new pens, which were these two. This one here, which is a Signo Uniball Signo white pen, which I think is much better than the one I had before. And I've also bought the one I had before was the other one, the one that I can never remember the name of, which is anyway, it doesn't matter, but this is the one that I like better. And I also bought one of these, which is a Signo Uniball metallic, sparkling metallic line pigment gel ink pen, which I've never had before, so it's basically gold, but it's more gold than gold, so we can try that one too. So let's draw a few lines on here. I think it's probably quite important to leave some space untouched, so I'm going to decide for myself that this one came out really quite well, so I'm not going to do anything to that, but some of them are less interesting. But let's just start with this one, and we'll just make the pen work, and we'll put some white lines across if we can make it work. Having said it was the best, it doesn't seem to want to. Sometimes, you know, these pens don't work very well on watercolor paper. I think that is probably true to say, but it seems to be okay now. I've just rubbed it on my hand. So we'll just put some geometric lines like that on that one. And on this one, we could put a white line, 2 white lines, another white line, and then we could put a gold line, or we could put some gold dots here. Once you start, you forget that you ever hesitated, and put a gold line in the middle there, and one there. Okay, and probably also we want a black, so I'll find one of those. What have I got here? A 0.5 fine liner. Yeah, that's okay. So we'll do some black lines too. Let us let's do something on this one, shall we? Some black, and then maybe we'll do some gold. Whatever comes to your mind, I would say, is what you should do at this stage. And then you could, another thing that you could do is, somewhere here I've got a, this is a pen, a Poetique brush pen, and that's a green one. I don't really think I really want green. I think I probably want pink. Or grey. Grey might work. Let's try that. Greyish brown. So you can, if you want to use these, you can draw quite subtle lines with one of these brush pens. Also, you could use it to do your shadow underneath if you wanted to. If you were going to do shadow underneath, you could use these. That looks quite good, doesn't it? Didn't really work on this one. I'm not happy with that. I don't think that one's worked out at all. So let's, I'm going to put a little bit more pink on that one. Not that colour pink though. Maybe I'll go with bronze. It's too light. I don't like what I did in the way of embellishments. So we'll do it like that. That's better. You can always fix things. What else can we do? Using the white, we can do some wiggly lines around the outside edges of some of our, you've seen this done before, I'm sure. Wiggly lines we can do. And we can encircle some of these dots if we want. Something like that. And we could take a smallish brush. I'm going to pick up some blue. And just here, for example, just put some nice fine circles. Something like that. And on this one, no, that's already busy enough. How about this one? This one doesn't have much going on. Let's put some basically lines of shadow. Okay, I think we're probably getting towards the point at which we could think about stopping. This one, we could do something like this. And on here we could have some dots in rows. Something like that. And I think we're probably getting there. You can go on and on and on. I did say it might be nice to go around this pink line with a white pen to just adjust the contrast a little bit. So I'll do that. And maybe this one just wants a little bit of, because the nice thing about putting these lines on is it gives them a little bit more, rather than them being completely flat sort of thing, it gives them a bit more 3D-ishness. And I was going to do something in that one, wasn't I? So I think this might be one where might want to put some dots, and then perhaps this wiggly line again. And I think probably what we need to do here is to literally follow those lines around there. There we are, and perhaps one more. And maybe this one up the top here, which is looking a bit sad because this is, I've been neglected. So I'm going to give you some gold. There we are. Some little gold embellishments there. So I'm going to call that a day, and going to let you go. I did see somebody had done a painting like this and turned it into a greetings card, or somebody had actually even done it for a company, I think, and it was available to purchase. But it would make a nice card, wouldn't it? Something like this, done smaller perhaps, on a card. You could do it half the size. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And don't forget to follow us on Patreon, or at least join, become a member, and become a member here too. And all the things that I've used today are in the description below this video. So I shall let you go. Oh, and go and have a look at From the Garden too. At From the Garden is our sister channel where we have lots of nature inspiration for you to use to paint from. Lots of video of our animals and our countryside around us, which is very peaceful and lovely. So we're hoping to grow that channel so we can do more with it for you. And so I'll let you go. And time for lunch, I think. So I'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.